this started.
Hello, word nerds! Happy Sunday and welcome to our weekly live chat. This week is our book club. We are talking about The Girl from Everywhere by Heidi. Anybody?
Heilig.
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 This was an awesome time travel book. So as always, we're going to start by jumping in and sharing our rankings with you, along with a little bit about what we felt about this book. So Kyra, you are first.
It's out of 5, right?
Yeah.
It's out of 5.
I'm going to go 4.5 out of 5. I really like historical fiction and historical fantasies. And it was an interesting setting to me. So that was one of the things that drew me in.
Mm-hmm.
Rachel?
I'm giving this a 4. I really liked the diversity of the cast. I liked the diversity of the historical places, and I did like the time travel element. I thought it was handled very well. There's a couple of things, mainly in the romance part, that I was a little iffy on, so I just give it a 4.
It's a solid 4 for me as well. I absolutely loved the books and all of like the magic, but then I did issue with like the romance, like Rachel said, so I'm sure we'll get there. But I loved it. Mm-hmm. There were just a few things that I was hesitant about.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat. It was a 4 for me. The romance was a big one. It was just kind of fell a little flat for me. I did love that it was like the concept was so big, but they kept the story fairly contained in one place and one time, and actually managed to give some like worth to why they chose that. And it had a lot of connections with the characters, which I really enjoyed. The diversity was great. The family dynamic between the main character and her dad was really cool. So yeah, 4 stars. I kind of thinking we should jump in by talking about the romance, because we all seem to have some thoughts on that.
Yes.
So there was a love triangle in this one.
Yes, there was.
That was a thing.
That was a thing that didn't need to be there.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
that's a good point.
I think I think I mentioned this earlier to you guys, but like anybody that's watching this, I did review this book like a long time ago, so I was looking at my review again to kind of just do a refresher. And one of the things that I had in my notes was about the love triangle, where I really liked Kaz because he was, crazy and funny and all that jazz, but I liked Blake because he was really sweet, but I just thought the two of them together in one setting was a little bit much, and I was kind of like, I don't really think there needs to be any kind of romantic tension. There's already so much tension.
And to be fair, I never really felt like there was that much tension. Like, she didn't have off-the-charts chemistry with either of them for me. So if they skipped the triangle, maybe?
Because I remember, is it Kaz? I read the
Kashmir. Wait a minute, did I say Kashmir? Is that how you're supposed to say his name?
My guess is that it's Kashmir, since he's like Persian or something like that.
He's supposed to be Persian, yeah.
Okay, so I liked him, but I felt like
Kaz.
I liked him a lot, but I feel like I kind of liked him, just him, and not even necessarily him and her together.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like, I liked him because he was hilarious, because he just kept playing on different personas.
Actually, partially wanted the book to be about him.
Right? I liked him a lot. Like, I remember there's a part in it where they go into a dress shop, and he just, like, turns into this, like, snooty English lord, and I was like, oh my god, that would be hilarious.
Yeah. And the other guy, I kind of remember just mostly thinking, like, who are you? Why are you here?
Oh no.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed with Cash in particular was that, like, there was room for that tension to be built up. Like, there's a moment where they're in the boat, like in one of the rooms together, they're in a hammock together, they're face to face flirting and talking with each other, and then she jumps ahead a few hours and fills you in, and it's like, oh yeah, and back there I kind of wanted to kiss him, but I didn't. And it's like, you could have like really ramped up the tension by showing me that as it was happening, instead of waiting until morning and telling me you thought about it.
Yeah.
And it almost happened.
If I remember correctly, was it this book where she was like oh, we just lay down together, and like the whole crew thought that we were sleeping together, but we weren't. We were just like lying down together, and like that's our friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, his character was hurt a little bit by past books I read. Like he felt like such a typical, like your first crush kind of guy, and then you end up with the other guy. So I never really had that room in my head for him to become that main love interest.
I was so invested. I was like, it's him or I'm done with this book.
Pretty much, I'm like, you better not choose Blake. Blake is just the friend.
I don't know. I never felt like that about either of them, really. For me, it was just kind of, like, I could see her ending up with either of them, but neither one felt like her epic once-in-a-lifetime love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could
well
see
said.
that.
I remember at
I
the
felt
end being like, Blake's on the ship, I think, and they're all like sailing off into the uncertain future, and I'm kind of like, why are you bringing him with you? You're only bringing him with you for the sole purpose of having the love triangle tension on a ship. Like, I don't. You could push him overboard. I really wouldn't care. Poor Blake, but like, I just don't care about him.
Especially because I loved the emotions that she made you feel when Nyx kisses him at the end and is like, oh, this feels very final. Like, it feels like this was the guy I was supposed to leave behind on the beach and blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, I like that.
It feels like we're supposed to leave him behind, but we didn't.
No, we took him anyway. You're like, okay. Well, his family's rich. I don't know. Just backup plan.
We can use him for a ransom later.
Across time and space.
I honestly felt like I had this big ending in my head that I was certain was going to happen, because like such a big conflict is that her father won't let go of the mother. I really, really, really thought that they were going to kill Cash at the end, and she would end up choosing Blake rather than turning into her father and going back for Cash.
Oh.
So I had, like, starting at about page 150, I was like, they're going to do this. They're going to hurt me. They're going to take my favorite character and kill him, and she's not even going to go back for him. But
I can't remember that, but I do remember the whole. Why is the father? He's actually like a pretty good character, but he's also like the worst character ever. I'm like, you dick! You're basically just going around being like, I want to go find my wife so I can undo time so you were never born. I'm like, whoa, rude. And you're bringing her along with you. Like, that is not a healthy relationship.
Mm-hmm. I also get why he would, like, I understand that he thinks this would be better for her to be unmade and get this life that he thinks she deserves. And so I did feel a lot of conflict with, like, you need to calm down, but also I don't totally blame you for wanting your daughter to have a better life than you gave her.
Yeah.
I don't know. Her life sounds pretty freaking sweet. You're on a ship that can go to any time, space, or reality. You get to go to magic worlds. You get to go anywhere in time. And
there's a hot guy.
Yeah.
There's a super hot guy in your ship. Like, I don't get it.
Oh.
That was actually a thing where I wanted to ask, like, if you could take the ship to any time, or I guess, like, let's say book world. Like, where would you take the ship?
That's a very good question.
You can't say Hogwarts.
But I
There are so
believe
many
in it.
maps of Hogwarts.
I know it is surrounded by a lake, but you can't do that. Gotta look at my bookshelf now. Ooh, I might go to Ketterdam from Six of Crows. I might go there, but only if I get magic powers on the way.
All you have to do is believe that you will, and you will. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
But just don't take drugs.
I might say the world of the Winter's Curse. They have oceans. We'd be able to get there.
Good
Okay.
argument.
I wouldn't need magical powers. They don't have those there.
Okay. Ooh, I would sail to Caraval. Because I just finished that book and I liked it. And I would totally... It's on an island anyway, so I'm like, I'd go there. That'd be dope.
Megan's still thinking about
I'm
this.
so
apparently.
stumped. I have no clue.
Hogwarts isn't allowed, and you can't visit the Raven Boys because they don't have an ocean nearby. Megan is just, she doesn't know what to do.
I'm like, what even?
You can take the ship back, I don't want it anyway.
And I have a real soft spot for Narnia. I love Narnia.
Oh, I really, really liked The World of Illusions of Fate by Kirsten White. It was really fun and dark, magic-y, but without being super duper murdery.
I've heard so much about that, but I haven't read it. But everyone tells me that it's a really good standalone.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4 stars or 4.5 stars.
Ooh. Check that out again.
Oh, so good.
Alright, let's see if we got any comments. Oh, you can't say Caves Water. There's no ocean there. Never.
Is there not a river in Cape's Water?
Oh, maybe. Oh, wait a minute. I think there is.
Ha
Oh, okay.
Cape's Water!
You can't sail a ship up a river, though. It doesn't work like that.
I was gonna say it has water in the name. You'd think there'd be.
They go into like
Rhoda
a
can just dream up
mercury
an ocean,
river
cool.
inside of a pyramid.
That is true now that alright, fine. Caves Water's allowed. Okay, let's talk about that scene because that just like blew my mind at the end.
I'm
First
so
of all,
confused.
it was a little confusing, but it was that's the kind of thing where I also really like the Raven Boys, how it has that like time is a loop, you know, time is a circle, time is a slinky, and it just kind of blew my mind because like that little dragon that Nyx, like she's at a shop and then she gains the dragon and then she goes back in time and then she loses the dragon and then she comes into her real time again, and you're just like, but that person would have had to go back in time before she was ever there to get the dragon to go back into the future to be there to give her the dragon to go back in time. You're like, I go,
Yeah, I was not following that.
I was like, what? Wait, what? I didn't bother. I was just like, I can't.
Things like that are the reason I will never write time travel.
Yeah.
My brain can't deal with it.
This is just a side note, because this book was, I guess, similar-ish to Passenger by Alexander Bracken. It's a fantastic book. But I think it's in Wayfarer, one of the characters makes a mention of that kind of idea where, you know, you can't jump to another timeline if you're already there. But he tries to jump. There's this one character that tries to jump to another timeline, and he's like, I can't get through. But I haven't been there yet. And you're just like, what? He's like, that means that there's a version of me there, and I haven't gone there yet. But I can't get through now because I'm already there, but I haven't been there. And I was like, I can't what? That kind of has that feeling to it.
Mm-hmm. Loved for, what was the dragon thingy's name? Does anyone remember?
Can't remember.
I wish the dragon.
Swag.
What was it? Sorry.
Swag?
Swag. Yes. I wish Swag had played a little more of a role in the book. I almost felt like she was just like her job was to transport Swag. Like, I'm gonna get this dragon and take it back so that my mom can have it later.
Yeah, I did kind of want more of her character too, because she seemed like a really cool character. Well, I mean, the whole town was cool, but her and her store was a really neat plot point that I wish we could have gone back to. Or what's it? A happy house? Yeah, that's what it's called. And it's like, that is a house of ill repute. We're gonna call it something adorable. Okay, kind of related because they go there to give the dragon back, but we're gonna go to the ancient Chinese temple with all the terracotta warriors, and with the River of Mercury. We're gonna wake them all up and then bring them to the future, and we're gonna stage a heist and have them just walking along on the beach. I was like, that is the coolest freaking thing ever. I was like, that is an ending.
That.
Thank you. That is a good ending for this.
And it was like so perfectly, like you were prepared for it. Like once she gets them there, and like you realize that they're going to be playing off of this myth, and
it was so cool.
And I love too that you got to see Blake be kind of like pissed about the fact that they faked this.
Yeah, he's like, what are they going to say? And she's like, well, we need to do this.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool
yeah.
Well,
the whole ending felt like the climax felt very satisfying to me.
Yeah, well, that's why I was confused about the ending, like the ending, because I know that there's now going to be a sequel, and I was a little bit like, okay, so is this book going to be a standalone? Because they do the sailing into the uncertain future, and I'm a little bit like, all right, so is this the end of it? Because I don't really know what else that you can do except for the fact that you brought Blake with you, and there's going to be a random love triangle on your boat. So I mean, but I'm like, what are you gonna do? Like you finished the thing. Like your father likes you now. You know, you got the cute boy. Like what are you gonna do?
That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Your life's great now.
Yeah.
I will also say, kind of along those lines, the ending. So she learns how to navigate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was expecting that to be more
difficult.
I don't know, difficult.
Yeah, right. She's just like, I've never been able to do this
begging
before.
him for years and years and years to teach her, and he finally does, and it's like, basically, you just do it.
You think about where you want to go, and you go there. You're like, that's it. Okay. I can navigate.
Hasn't tried that already. Okay. Yeah. So that was a little disappointing. I got there to be like something else you had to do. Although at that point, like, there's already been this like huge climax, and there's a lot of stuff that's being tied up. So maybe if she had stretched out and made it harder, it would have been like, oh, why are we still? Yeah. Like, it would have dragged on, maybe.
Well, maybe she could have put that in the second book.
Yeah.
True.
I think the feeling that I got from this one is that she didn't know if she was gonna get another book deal, so she just wrote one and then was like, oh, well, I'll leave stuff open enough that I can make another one just in case. And I think that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, but I feel like there's like every debut novel is like that. Like everyone writes a standalone with series potential, and I feel like there's lots of other books that have done it really well. I won't say that she didn't do it well because I don't think that.
Yeah, I think I docked a couple of points just because of that, because I was like, what is it? Should I be hoping for more? Am I hinging my hopes on something that's never going to happen, or what? But like, I think, yeah, that just got docked like a little bit. But will I read the second one? I'm not sure yet.
I will. I want to know what happens to Cash.
I want to know what other worlds they get to navigate to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do they go now? I'm more invested in Cash than I am in Nyx.
Yeah.
Like, I probably wouldn't read the sequel for Nyx, but I'd probably read it for Cash.
Yeah. Yeah. We were talking about this a little bit in the pre-chat, but there is a book trailer for book 2. So if you want to watch that, you can Google the Shift Beyond Time book trailer and it should come up. But I'm very nervous because the trailer is very much like she finds out someone she loves is going to die. I think it even specifies like the man I love is going to die and I'm going to do whatever it takes to save him. And so now I'm nervous again that the thing that I predicted in this book is going to be that book, and I don't know if I can handle saying goodbye.
Nervous.
How is she going to die?
I hope it's Blake.
Right? Where's ragging on poor Blake?
He was a great character. I just didn't have time for it.
As far as like vanilla nice boys sort of go, like they're not usually that interesting. Like, as far as that sort of trope cliche character went, I liked him you know, better than I could have for being kind of boring.
Yeah. And I like that he represented the classic, like, do I stay here with my history and learn who I was, or do I go on the ship and learn who I could be? So, like, I love that kind of debate.
I think the blurb does actually say who the man is. So
Really?
Who is it? Who is
it's
it?
Cash.
No!
But that was kind of my problem with the love triangle of like, you don't really know for sure in the end what she feels for everybody. That like, I don't know. I could have believed it if it went the other way.
Yeah. We had a comment or a question in comment form from Brian. Did anyone else find The Girl from Everywhere a bit slow paced? How did you guys feel about pacing?
I can't remember, so I'm gonna say no.
I think I read it pretty quickly, but I kind of feel like maybe there might have been like 1 or 2 parts where the energy dragged a little bit, but then it picked up again. I wouldn't say like I felt the whole thing was slow for sure.
Oh, I'm just looking at my review, and apparently I finished this in 1 day, so it was great fast for me. It's been a little while, guys. Okay, cut me some slack.
I also read it very quickly, but I do remember there were several parts, particularly in the first half of the book. Like, it was a lot of world building, and like most of what was happening was like her wandering around, and we are getting pages and pages and pages of beautiful, very vivid descriptions that I was super on board for, but I did feel a little like, this is a lot of world and not a lot of plot.
Well, that's actually something that I really loved, where how detailed the world was, and I also really enjoyed how it was like a, you know, every 1800s, 1700s setting is always in London. Like every historical fiction is always in London or somewhere in Europe, and it was super cool for it to be Hawaii, because that's definitely not a place that I would have thought of. Nor did I know very much about, so it was really cool to learn like what happened during that time period, and Blake's, you know, kind of eye into the world of the European aristocracy coming over, and how they kind of turned that around, and yes, I liked it.
Yeah, world building is my eternal struggle, and so I was like, how are you doing this? How? She's from there too, right? I believe Heidi is from Hawaii.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't do enough research, fortunately.
Yeah, it says here. Heidi.
Oh dear. Okay, hold on. I have the book. Let me look.
Hawaii, where she raised horses and raised peacocks, and then she moved to New York City. And she's done a lot of traveling, apparently.
Cool. Well, as someone who has been to Hawaii, I've only been to Maui, but it is beautiful, and it's definitely a place where I could see something magical happening.
Well, it very much was, and still is, a cultural hub, right? Because you have the like native Polynesians who live there, and the Europeans who came and invaded, like Europeans do, and Asian cultures represented there as well. A lot of Korean immigrants, a lot of Japanese immigrants. So I think also a lot of Chinese. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but yeah. So you get like this really beautiful blending of cultures there that is also very cool.
Because it's an island in the middle of nowhere.
One of the things I was really interested in, as far as like the world goes, is how seamlessly Nyx would shift from culture to culture. Like they get to New York and she busts out her cell phone and like, all right, we're here, let's do this. And like
I'm also surprised she didn't ever like find herself thinking like, oh, I wish I had a cell phone, you know, because like like I've had time zones I've lived in where cell phones were a thing. It is not a thing right now, but it would sure be useful. I feel like I would catch myself thinking that all the time.
Like, man, I wish I had the internet.
Right. Oh god, I haven't updated my Tumblr page in like 400 years. Yeah, I wonder, that'd be actually kind of neat. That would be a neat addition to it. You know, her being in, oh dear God, what century was this? 1800s and 1860s Hawaii being like, oh man, you know, I wish I had the internet right now, or maybe even being in like modern London and being like, wow, if I had that thing from Morocco in 1750, this, you know, this would be so much easier to do, or like, man, that decorative ornament would look really nice right on that mantelpiece. Like, you know, it'd be, you kind of need to like reference all the cultures.
Mm-hmm. They did it a little bit with the place where you can trade salt for gold. Like that got brought up a few times. I can't remember which place it was.
I want to say Carthage. I could be completely pulling that out of nowhere, though.
Well, there's also a lot of themes about, especially from Cass, about the whole like, spend your money when you have it. Like, you're never going to be one place for very long. Don't bother like collecting anything or looking for stuff. And I feel like I was some kind of, you know, first mate time traveler. I probably want to collect stuff, but that's just me, because as you can see behind me, all of like my vintage books and like knickknacks and stuff. So maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I feel like home, like the idea of home was a huge theme in the book. Like, what is it?
Mm-hmm.
And the part at the end that like broke my heart the most was when Blake is like dying, but you know he's gonna be fine. And she's like, it's fine, we're gonna get you home. And he's like, home, where is that? And you're like,
oh,
why is my heart?
I definitely remember like getting to that part of the book, and I was at work, so I was reading it, and I got to the part where he got shot, and I was like, oh dear God, and then my break was over, so I was like sweating it out for like 2 hours over I could get off of work and go and finish it. I was like, no, he's fine, okay, it's good, everything's fine.
Yeah. Oh, there's one other part.
I just want to make a quick mention, just because there was a lot of classic literature references, and my inner literature student really enjoyed that. There's just a bunch of stuff from like Coleridge and okay, I'm like, I made a list of it, but I can't remember what they were. Oscar Wilde and Homer, and just like those kind of, I just liked it, and it's kind of fun to be able to like pick it out. Also, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner is like one of my favorite poems, so it was kind of cool because it's about, you know, man like going out to sea, and so it was all that. It was really neat. I love when people make references like that in books.
There's someone in the comments who said that their local library didn't have it, so they couldn't read it. You can always look and see if your local library will let you request books to buy. Most libraries do allow that. Be a good one to request because
it's big.
It's big. It'd be good for the library to have it.
Yeah.
It's a good way to support diverse authors.
Definitely.
Yeah, so consider seeing if your library will let you request it. And then you can read it, and other people can read it because it'll be in the library.
Yay!
Yeah, so you're going to be very spoiled.
Yeah, there's a lot of spoilers in this chat.
Yes.
All the spoilers.
I know. At the beginning of this, I was going to do like okay, we're going to go into spoiler mode now, but I was like, nah, everyone here will have read it, right? It's cool. If this sounds like an interesting book, go read it.
Yeah. I put a thing in the description that said spoiler warning, so.
Oh, well, I mean, come on.
It's at least there. There was also a lot of stuff in there if you're like a linguistics enthusiast. I was always really into her trying to figure out what phrases matched the time period. She's like, could I say this? Would it make sense? Could I say that? If I ask for this, are they gonna know? Like with the coins, she wants to make a joke about you've made your mark, but she doesn't know if that would have worked, and he would have just been like, what are you talking about?
Oh yeah, I remember that. She's like, I marked my invented yet, I can't remember.
She must have done so much research.
Mhm.
So much.
Yeah, the research is why I tend not to write historical fiction or historical fantasy, even though I really, really love reading it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I admire people who do the research so that they can write things like that, so that I can read things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm actually hoping to have a little bit more of the magical worlds in it, because they make reference, I think, all I can remember is those fish, like magic fish that they caught in a,
Under the
like
light.
in the light, and like just that kind of thing, and how they were like trading like weird mystical creature stuff at the market, and like looking around. I'm like, I want to know what other kind of, because it says realities. So I'm like, yo, I would love to sail to a different magical reality. Like, oh, sign me up. And I'm like, where can you go? Maybe the second book? I don't know. I want to go somewhere. I mean, this reality had a little dragon, but that's kind of it. And I'm like, I want something insane. I want something fantasy. I want something with a cool mythical creature. Or fly.
They kind of set up a precedent for it too, with having them go back. And there's the question of, did you go back to the exact same Hawaii, or did you go back to a slightly different one where all the myths were actually true?
It's such a cool idea.
I did wish, like, they have the maps in the book, so you can see like pictures of the maps, which I thought was really cool, but I felt a little gypped that we didn't get to see the map that Blake drew.
Oh yeah,
It's like, if you're gonna put the maps in, you got to go all the way, and
That was like
the maps that you're using.
Was good for.
Yeah.
Well, if you,
and that one line that Megan, like, those two things.
Yeah. If your book has a map in it, I'm gonna buy it. Like, that's just how it works. If the book has a map in it, I open it, I see a map, I'm like, this book's gonna be amazing. It's mine. It's perfect. It's beautiful.
Sold.
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm like, they didn't give me the original map. I want to see it.
It's funny. I had a teacher in college. He taught like young adult literature, and he wasn't a fan of fantasy, and he said if it was a fantasy book with a map in the front of it, he wouldn't read it.
That's okay. I'm making up for him.
Okay. The universe is balanced now.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, there was one other world thing I thought of.
Yes.
What was the woman's name where her wife was dead, and she was always like, oh, she wants me to go do this thing, or she's messing with me again. I loved that.
Oh, right. It was one of the crew members, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it B?
B, maybe? That sounds familiar.
Yeah, maybe.
And her wife's name started with an A.
Here's my review. Yeah, B. Okay, yeah.
IN. That's the name of the wife.
Also, great diversity there with like Nyx being half Chinese and Kaz being Persian. It's the crew. I'm looking at my review right now. So B is from Africa, Rocket's from China, and Nyx is half Chinese, etc. So I thought it was kind of neat to have a more diverse crew.
I'm like looking through the book. I'm getting distracted. I just want to read the book.
Read it again.
Yeah. I want to know, the second one, it's not out yet, right? Or is it out?
Not that I know of.
Soon, I think.
I think it's really soon.
Yeah.
It comes out 2 days.
Oh, okay then.
Very soon.
Well, very soon.
Very soon. And it's got a beautiful cover as well.
Oh my god, I gotta go to Goodreads.
And this one, the book is black with the white font, but the second one, the book is white And so they're gonna look so pretty next to each other.
Ooh.
I do like the covers.
Mm-hmm.
With the one thing I will say about the cover, so very pretty. I do think we need more books with.
Sorry, I saw the cover. I was like, oh my god, this is
We
so
do need more books
beautiful.
with people of color actually on the cover. So I think they could have maybe done that a little bit more. But as far as just the cover itself goes, I think it's really pretty.
Mhm. Oh my god, this cover, yo, this is so beautiful.
And the wave, instead of having like a person in it, has like a design in it.
It does? I'm trying to see it right now.
Yeah.
Oh, it does. Oh, that's cool.
Probably a clue.
Probably.
Oh, but I don't trust them not to kill Cash. I've already steeled myself for it once. Can I do it again? I would love to see a lot more romantic tension in book 2. And it seems like if book 2 is going to be all about trying to save the man she loves most, there's got to be more romance. Because this one's all about like Nyx saving herself, basically. So it's like, yeah, you're cute and stuff, but also I might die.
Which is realistic.
Yeah. So if the next one is like, you might die, maybe there's more room for romantic tension there.
Yeah, I feel like with the romantic tension, like the kind of lack of it wouldn't have bothered me if I didn't feel like it was supposed to be there. Because I think she could have had a book that was very much just about like Nyx and trying to deal with this thing with her dad and like have, you know, but I felt like they were trying to make it more of a romance sometimes.
I felt like I was supposed to ship one of them with her for sure.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
And if I hadn't felt that way, I don't think I would have minded because there's plenty of story without the romance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
It's just kind of like this weird, like lukewarm point where it's like if it wasn't really there all, it would have been fine. Or if it had been like full steam ahead, that would have been fine. But it was just kind of like here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe.
Both of them, when she kisses them, it happens so fast. She's like, and then we kissed, and it was a kiss.
Moving on.
Next thing. And so you never even really hear how she feels about the kiss, how she feels during the kiss. If she's like, this is excellent, this is obviously what my life has been, my romantic life has been building up to, or like, he, not even like a he kisses better than Blake or something, or it feels different from Blake.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of, and I tend to write that way too, which is something in my own writing I'm trying to work on, where she's just like, it happens and she's like, no response. Which again, maybe she's just got bigger things to worry about, but it was a little like, hey, your best friend just kissed you. Is that okay? Okay.
That's cool. That's cool. Yes. Okay.
Even if she thought to herself, like, I have bigger things to worry about, I would have been like, yeah, girl, you do have bigger things. Keep going. You do you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's clear that we loved a lot, but the romance was the number one thing we wanted more of.
Mm-hmm.
Or less of, just
more or less, yeah.
Yes.
Not the amount that
I mean, I probably would lean towards more personally, but
yeah.
Yeah, I think I would have leaned towards more actually too.
I expected Blake to betray her for a really long time too.
Yeah, I was hesitant with him at first. He was too nice. He was too sweet. I was like, you can't be real.
He was so interested in her so fast. You know something. What do you know?
Well, he is on an island. Remember that. Like, you
That is
only
true.
got like limited dating opportunities. You see a hot chick from across the sea, you're like, yo, I'm gonna make that girl my wife.
A hot chick in weird clothes.
Right? Probably more interesting than half the girls there if they're constantly going to dances and doing other European things.
Yeah, I think at the time Hawaii had sort of like a mail-in bride sort of thing, just because they needed more. Like, yeah, there were a lot more men than women.
Yeah. I would have loved to learn more about the men who wanted to steal the money, and Blake's father, who kind of wanted the money stolen, but kind of just wanted his wife to love him, and was kind of good and kind of bad, and then he was hiding in a bag. It's like, what's the plan, dude?
Neat.
It was really, really cool, but I was also like, what's the plan, Blake's dad?
Well, I remember being very confused because no one ever said what their name was. It was like Mr. T and Mr. M, and I'm like, who are these people? And I kept getting them mixed up, so I really didn't know who was who.
There were quite a few characters to try and keep track of.
Yeah, just in that whole steal the money plot. And also, Blake's mom is kind of like, I don't know, she's an interesting character, but I did not like her at all. And I'm like, I don't know why Blake's father is like trying to get her back. Like, she's obviously not good for you. And Cass is out here flirting away, trying to make her jealous, and it just, I don't know, it was weird.
Yeah. Yeah, basically all the secondary characters I wouldn't have minded a little bit more of. Like, it's hard because to have more of them, you would have had to have less world description because it's already a very long book. And I loved all the world description.
How long is it? I read it as an ebook, so I don't really have a good sense for.
It is
454 pages. Wait, that's including the author's note. It is 443 pages.
Yeah, it's a decent length.
Mm-hmm. I'm currently reading A Conjuring of Light, which is the third of V.E. Schwab's Dark-Shaded Magic series, and that thing is like 600 pages long. It is super intense.
I wonder what it feels like to write a book that long.
Right?
I write really short
Right?
books and then have to try and make them longer, so.
My first drafts are all like 60K. It's like, I need to double this.
I mean, that's better than the one I'm working on right now, which the first draft came out at like 25K. It's like,
Damn! Like the feeling.
Each subsequent draft has
Sarah.
each subsequent draft has managed to add like 5K, but not more than that. And that's a really painful way to write a book. It's like, okay, I'll just keep writing it and adding a few thousand more words every time.
All over the whole book.
Yeah. I don't recommend it.
Covered a lot. We covered like the whole book, I think.
Yeah. For a book club this long into an hour is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does anyone have like final thoughts on it?
I'm very curious to see what happens with book 2. I will read it eventually.
Agreed. It will
I'll
be
let
next year book club.
Yeah.
I'll let you read it and tell me what you think and maybe decide if I'm going to read it.
But definitely highly recommend Oiled. The world is so like, this is just like a masterclass in world building. Just reading this book and seeing all the things she does.
Oh yeah.
Recommend it.
All right. Do you want to end it there then? We'll wrap a little early.
think we shall.
I believe so.
All right. Thank you all so much for joining us. This was a lot of fun, and I think one of our chattier book clubs. Do we know what we're talking about next week? Wait, next week is my week.
The realities of publishing.
Yes, I'm very excited for that one. Next week we're talking about the realities of publishing, so that should be very, very interesting. Hopefully we will see you guys then. In the meantime, have a great week, and we will see you next time. Bye!